Hello everybody out there in Flosstube world. This is Vicki, aka the Virginia Stitcher, coming to you with my Flosstube video number 50. So I'm half a century into this video making. Today is Wednesday, August 7th of 2024, and I have a lot to show you guys. I'm sorry it always takes me a while to get back to you, but it just seems like life, gets in the way sometimes. So, but nothing crazy, nothing, it's just regular stuff. It's just busy, busy, busy. Today is August 7th, so it's also my oldest daughter's birthday today. So I know she doesn't watch my videos. Neither of my daughters cross stitch, so I don't think they're interested in seeing their mom talk about her cross stitch. That's why I talk to you guys about my cross stitch. Most people in my family, and friends, they don't stitch. They're not that interested. So, so I have to come out and show you guys my stuff so that I have somebody that says, yay, it's so pretty, I like it. Anyways, I want to welcome you guys to my channel. I'm digressing. And I hope you guys are having a great summer. That if you're in the southern hemisphere, you're not experiencing any too cold of weather. If you're in the northern hemisphere, I hope it's not too hot. And actually here it's we're getting ready to get some of the residual storm that came through the Caribbean up through Florida, and it hit the Carolinas I think yesterday. So it's real cloudy here today. I have my blinds a little bit shut because the glare that comes through, but it's not a sunny day. It's just glaring, and I don't want it to glare on my cross stitch too much. That's the only problem with having a window behind you when you're filming these videos. It can compete with the light in front of you. So I try to have the best viewing of my cross stitch as I can. I am in a basement room, but it does have full-size windows down here in this basement. It's a walkout basement. So I want to welcome you all to my channel. If you haven't been here before, welcome. My name is Vicki, and I live in the state of Virginia in the USA, and I love cross stitch. What more can I say? I am in the process of doing 62 new starts this year for my 62nd birthday, and also because I was born in 1962. So I thought, how perfect. I just have to do 62 new whips. So I showed you, I think it was my last video, was a check-in of halfway through what I have started this year, and I had 31 new starts, so I had half of them, half of the 62. This month, the month of July, this past month, I did 6 more new starts, so I have a total of 37 started so far for this year, so I have 25 more to go. So, and what do we have? August, September, October, November, December. I have 5 more months to do 25, so I think I'm on track for that. So I do have more than the 6 new starts. I have 15 total projects to show you that I've touched this past month, the month of July. And I have been working on a new start already for this month, but that will be, I'll show you my August progress next time. So I think we need to get right into it since I have 15 and my videos always seem to run extremely long. And I want to be able to show you the goodness. So here we go. The first one that I worked on this month was actually, why do I have this one on the top? It actually was, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day by Heartstring Samplery, because I was trying to do some, what is it called? Christmas and July stitching, holiday stitching. So I did pull this one out to start. Looks like this. I know that, Shelly with Welcome Stitchery, she was stitching on this and had finished it, and it was so beautiful. So I thought, I need to stitch on that. I didn't get too far. I think I only worked a couple of days on this one, and it looks like I'm stitching this one on just a piece of, it just looks like, probably Ivory Lugana 32 count. So it's an even weave, and I picked my own colors out of my stash because there are not a whole lot of colors in this one. So I picked from my Victorian motto stash in my collection, and I picked colors that I thought looked nice together and also went along with the colors that the designer had picked for this piece. So I picked these two blues, these two greens. I have the greens separated from each other, and the two reds. There we go. Let's fix that. So I picked these colors to stitch my I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. And Victorian motto, it's not like you can go, they are on Etsy, but it's not like you can go on their shop and just order individual, as far as I know. When I've ordered in the past from them, I haven't ordered in a while, so I don't even know if these colors are available. I would get them in packs, like it might be a fall pack or a Halloween pack of flosses. But they do come 20 yards, and this one was russet red. Cherry Conserve was my lighter. Smoky blue, blue lace, and then the two greens are Green Valley and Christmas Green. So these are my colors that I picked for this one. So I was stitching from stash for this one. Had a piece of this Lugana in my stash, and I thought, let's get this one going. So let me see if I can show you. Hopefully I won't need my board, but if I do, I'll get it out. But here's how far I got on I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. So like I said, I only worked a couple of days on this piece. Didn't get very, very far. Might be able to just fold it in half, bring it in so you can see it better. Let me see if I can. Oh, my light is kind of over top, and sometimes it starts casting a shadow. But this is a lot of counting in here to get all these little leaves and stuff in. And then you could see that 3 of these red flowers were the darker and 1 was the lighter. So you've also switched colors a little bit. But there, like I said, there's only 6 colors. There's 2 blues, 2 greens, and 2 reds. This is a fun stitch. And like I said, if when I saw Shelly on Welcome Stitchery, when she finished hers, I thought, oh, that is so pretty. So that is the first thing I worked on. Then the second thing I worked on, looking at my notes down here of what I worked on this month. Well, I worked some more on Elizabeth Weston, but that was earlier in the month of July. That's my Hands Across the Sea piece. And you saw my progress on Elizabeth Weston, so I didn't drag her back out. She's still sitting there waiting her turn again. So I did start on another Hands Across the Sea sampler. And this one is, a lot of people are stitching this or have stitched it, and it's Anne Tong Uffendale by Hands Across the Sea. She looks like this. And she is fun. I am loving this border. I'm just stitching in the border. I started up here in the upper left-hand corner. I'm stitching this one on an even weave. This one looks like it might be limestone. And I am using the, when Nicola Parkman, when she kits her Hands Across the Sea, she usually does at least 1 silk, if not 2, and then the DMC. So she'll give you a DMC conversion, or this one is in the soie de jet. Sometimes it's the, oh, what's the other silk she sometimes uses? Belsoise sometimes? I'm not sure. But this one, and maybe sometimes she does the 103s. Either that or people just switch to it. But I am stitching this on, I have my sticker on the back of this, 32 count limestone Lugana with the DMC selection from Nicola. Get my pin out of the way. I don't want to put a pin mark on my stitching. I could probably fold this one in half because this is on a large piece of fabric right now, but I am not that far on it. So you don't need to see the whole piece of fabric here yet. This is a half yard that I got of this to make sure that it would fit. And this is how far I got on her. Like I said, I mostly was working in the border, and the flowers are just a lot of fun to stitch. Sorry for the little bit of wrinkles in there. So this is, maybe holding it here. I like to hold it up close so you can actually see the stitching. But then my light, I have an aunt light on my desk here. Sorry for the squeaky chair. I noticed it in my last video that I had a squeaky chair. But this is the chair that's the most comfortable for my back. I'm still been having a lot of lower back issues. So that's where I got with this one. So, love, 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 love it. Isn't that beautiful? I need to slow down when I'm holding up things and hope that I can get a screen, that my camera will catch a screen grab of a... Sometimes I'm looking and I want to do a thumbnail for my videos, but there are ones of me going, or what, just, now it'll get that one. You watch. And I'll think, oh, those are all I have to pick from. I must make stupid faces all the time. So, that was my second one that I had worked on, and my second new start for the month. Then I pulled out, I was doing some Patriotic stitching also. So I was doing Patriotic, I was doing Christmas, and a couple other random pieces, you know, that I just felt like working on. So this one is a Patriotic. And because we were in July when I was stitching this stuff, and I said I need to work. I think I pulled this out on the 4th of July and worked on it a little bit. And this is the 4th of July rules. Picked this up at Salty Yarns when I was there in April this year. It's one of the newer releases from Primrose Cottage Stitches. And I am still at the top because I didn't get much time. I think I only pulled it out that one day. I said, you know, it's 4th of July. I need to work on my 4th of July piece. And this one is just being stitched. It looks like on an even weave. It was it looks like it was a piece that was left over from something. It looks like taupe, 32 count taupe Lugana. Just fold it in half. So I had a long piece left and I just started stitching on that. Oh, and there's a wrinkle. It looks like right where that line is. There's a crease. And I have a dangly thread. Because like I said, I worked on it the one night and then that was one day. That was all I worked on it. Because I pulled this up. I had worked on it some previously. You'd seen this before. I can't remember. All I did was I finished up the rest of what was left here. I think I had a bunch of the white, the stars. I had to fill in the white in the words and do this bunting down here. And then I started in the house that's on the second section of this one. But that's how far I got on the 4th of July rules. It's not very far. Hopefully next summer, because I'm kind of Patriotic stitched out, I think, for right now. As you'll see, I worked on a handful of Patriotic this time, along with the Christmas and stuff, and a couple of samplers and other things. But I'll put that in there later. I just have it in a plastic bag with my other Patriotic piece from Cottage Garden. I mean, not Cottage Garden, Primrose Cottage Stitches. The third piece that I worked on was a new start. I was also feeling fall. So I was all over the place in July. I just was feeling like I'm getting tired of Patriotic. Wasn't quite doing Christmas a whole lot, but I wanted to do some fall stitching, but then I also didn't get very far on this one. It's like I said, busy. I don't know what's going on with, you know, you're retired, you think you're going to have all this time, and you honestly don't. But this is Thanksgiving Comes Again by Prairie Schooler, and I was working on the large one, the large sampler. And this one is stitched on, I think it's just a random piece that I had in my stash, small piece of linen. So I'm not sure the color. It almost looks like an exemplar, but I'm not real sure. And I want to say it's probably a 32 count, but that's how far, see dangly thread again. That's how far I got on Thanksgiving Comes Again. That's more true to the color for this one. When I bring things in close, it really washes out the color when you put it right under the light. But this is more true to color. It's kind of a tanny, more of a tan color. So I didn't get very far on this one. I am just using the called for DMCs. Prairie Schooler usually charts their stuff. They're an old classic. designer that charted their things usually with DMC. And it's just in one of my little Amazon mesh bag things I get off of Amazon. The next piece, it was also another fall piece. This was a new start. Get a sip of my coffee. And this one is the New World sampler. This is a new one from Plum Street. Came out recently. It's called The New World. I think it came out last fall. I know I had it. I don't know. When did I get it? Maybe. Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, I love it. I love everything about it. I love all the elements. So when I was going to start this one, I was like, do I start at the top and I start with the deer and the pilgrims and the Indians up there? Or do I start down at the bottom and get to this cool ship? I had to think about it for a good long while because I love every part of this design. But I decided to start at the bottom, and I am using a piece of 32 count Dead Sea Scroll by Seraphim Fabrics, and it's still on the Q-snap because I was actually just working on this last night some more. So I do have a thread hanging there. But here's how far I've gotten so far. Let me show you what it really looks like, what the color looks like on this one, and then bring it in closer for you to get a better look at how it's looking, where you can see all of the little colors going on in the ship there. This one is the most ghosted color, but it's still showing up good enough. So I was kind of hemming and hawing. So I did not stitch in the other. There's another sail here, one here, and one down here that are in this same color. But I was kind of like, let me think about it. Let me sit on it for a while before I decide if I'm going to stick with that color. But it is showing up, so I think I'm just going to leave it because it's not bright even in the photo. It's hard to see them there. So that is my start on the New World Sampler by Plum Street Samplers. So I worked on another fall piece because by the end of the summer, I'm tired of the heat and I love fall. It's my favorite. And so I like to get working on that because like I said, when it's 100 degrees here, 95, 100 degrees, humid and soupy out, sticky, nasty. Me and humidity, I don't like the humid weather, but I figure it only lasts 2 or 3 months here in Virginia, and then it kind of clears up and it goes away. So I deal with it. I stay inside and I stitch. But I decided on the 13th of July, and I think even the next day, let me see. Yeah, I worked on this the 13th and the 14th. I wanted to do some spooky Halloween stitching, so I decided to pull up this Halloween sampler by Teresa Kat. And this book is awesome. This book has lots and lots of patterns, not just this big, beautiful sampler, but it's got so many cute, I don't want to show the patterns, but look at that. Look at those 3. I love all of the designs in here. Let me see if I can find another page that's not pattern in here. That's all the pattern for the sampler. Let me show. Those are the patterns for those 3. Here's another one. Look at it. Isn't it cute? I love her little pumpkin people. I have another one, the Harvest Friends, that I started last fall that I haven't had a chance to work on yet. I want to pull that one out and work on it some this fall. Somebody recently had just showed it, that they were working on it. And look, these vintage cats. Oh, love them. So cute. And then she's even got these smalls down in here. What else? This one. I mean, all of the designs in here, there is not a loser in the bunch. I'm telling you, this is just, and these 2 flying witches. I love this one with the big rump. Oh, she cracks me up. But I think that was it. So this book has lots and lots of beautiful, beautiful pieces to stitch on. So if you only had one, if you thought, you know, I like Teresa Kat stuff and I just want to do a few Halloween things, I don't do a whole bunch, this book would be a winner for you. Anyways, I stitched on this I had already had this one started. Actually, I had it restarted. I had started it on a piece of fabric that I wasn't liking for it. My oranges just weren't looking good on it. And I think I switched my orange floss like 3 times. And I was like, I just am not feeling this. This is not working for this piece. And I now have that piece of fabric set aside. I might use it for like Feast of Friendship or something like that by Blackbird Designs. But then I'm stitching this one on a 28 count Lugana in the color Amber Waves by Atomic Ranch. I'm sorry. Figures, nobody calls me all day until I'm filming a video and I forgot to turn my ringer off. So, like I said, this is Amber Waves by Atomic Ranch. Fold it in half because I'm not that far. This was a restart last fall, and I'm loving this fabric for it. My colors are looking good on this piece of fabric. This one's like a little more orangey yellow color. So here's where I am. When I picked it up this time, I didn't have very much on it because it was a restart. I think I just had put in these border marks and this whole corner thing, the pumpkin. I don't remember if I even had the bird. And I think I had 1 or 2 of these cats. So I did 1 or 2 of these cats, did this pumpkin down here, and might have done some of this. So that's where I am on. I wish my lighting was better. That's really driving me nuts. Maybe if, I turn it this way towards the lamp. That's helping. But I'm loving it so far. Isn't that pretty? I like it. I like that color. I like that fabric. Much, much better. I believe, no, I might have switched 1 or 2 of the colors. Most of the time Teresa Kat uses, what do I mean 1 or 2 of the colors? It looks like I switched a lot of the colors. She uses, on this one, she's using a lot of, a few DMCs, Weeks Dye Works, and a Classic Color Work. But then I went in and I was stitching from stash, evidently. And see, I'm doing it on a 28 count Lugana, so I circled this is a copy. This is a copy I made of the sheet that has the color key on it. So that's was my plan of attack on this one. So, like I said, Amber Waves by Atomic Ranch. And I ordered it from the shop up in New England. Pam from Stitching in the Land of Good Enough on YouTube. She has her own shop up there. I'm trying to think of the name of it. Stitch New England. She carries a lot of Atomic Ranch, and I think she even has an Atomic Ranch Fabric of the Month Club, I believe, still. So this next one that I worked on was Patriotic. So I flipped it back over to Patriotic again. And this one is by Teresa Kat, and this one I started, wait a minute. No. Where is my pattern for this one? I didn't bring it. See, I think I'm prepared and I'm not. So, I apologize. I do not have the pattern for this. You probably have seen it. This one is by Plum Street Samplers. This one's called Liberty's Welcome. Stitching this one on, it looks like a 32 count taupe Lugana. And this is how far I am. Like I said, I can't show you the whole thing. But it does, this is a big house. And then a bunch of grass across here. It says Liberty's Welcome in the grass, but that's the start of my grass. And I did pull a bunch of flosses myself. I'm not stitching everything that called for. So if you want to know what I'm using, you can always comment and ask me, or comment on Instagram or whatever. I'm _Virginia_Stitcher on Instagram. You can always message me on there. But this is where I got to on this one. I just pulled it up for a couple of evenings. I was wanting to start filling in this house a little bit more. And this one, I know I did the house colors. I converted them. And I know this one right here is White Lightning. I don't remember if it's Weeks Dye Works or Gentle Arts. But this one, this color here is called White Lightning. And I wanted some movement in the house. So let me bring it up closer where you can see. And I wanted movement, you know, I did the roof. If you go back to videos last summer, I talked about how I worked on this, doing the variegation in this roof here. I do have a dangly thread. Sorry, it's kind of getting in the way. But if you could see, you can see that it goes kind of white to light grayish. That color, White Lightning. And that's all I did, was I did, I think I had it across the top of the windows kind of filled in. So I came in and I was filling in between the windows. Because I thought, sometimes maybe for TV stitching, I need to work on some of these pieces that have big fill-in. Because that's really easy to do. Once you have things in like the windows, and you know, parts like that, get it kind of structured in, and or you outline the area that you need to fill in, then you're good to go. You could just sit there and stitch, 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 and get it all filled in while you're watching TV, while you're Zooming, while you're visiting with friends. Car stitching, because you don't really have to look back and forth at a pattern. Now this one. This one is Teresa Kat. This is another Patriotic one. This is one I've been working on for a couple of years. This one's called Land That I Love. And like I said, it's Teresa Kat. And what did I work on this one this time? And I only worked on this one just a couple of days. This one is being stitched on a 16 count piece of Aida in the color Lamb's Wool. So this one is on Aida, because this one does not have any fancy stitches, no 1/1. It's just straight up cross stitch. I don't even think there's any back stitching in it. It's just X's. So let me get this opened up here. So this is where I am on Land That I Love. Get the whole thing in there. I think, oh yes, when I came this time, I know I did this star. And this, I can't decide if this is a dish, which I think it is a dish, or a boat. Oh, and I brought this border across down here, this separation band, division band in the piece. So like I said, 16 count Aida in the color Lamb's Wool. And I'm sorry, I'm getting a reflection. Hold it up like that. And then come in closer. So I was working where it says USA, and I did not fill in this color yet in here. But I was stitching there. And that's a lot of stitches. So even though I only worked a couple of days, and like I said, and then I brought this over to where it ends here, because there's some flowers in the border I still need to put in. So, show you everything. And I know I'm using all the called for this one. I love this house down here. This is what I worked on last year. I think I worked on getting the border all the way around, the bones of the border, and then I worked down here in this corner, and I got that house in last summer. That was a lot of stitching, because it's dense stitching. It's, you know, it takes a while. Because if you were one to count stitches, I mean, it's probably 2,000 stitches in that thing or something. Who knows? It's not small. So let me see what I'm doing. Are these the flosses for that one? I think so. Okay, so I am using some Weeks Dye Works and Classic Color Works. Yeah, I'm probably using all the called for this piece. That would be my guess. So, because I started it a couple of years ago. So, slowly working away at it. Because like I said, I'm a process stitcher. I don't care if it takes me 5-10 years to finish something. I just enjoy stitching on it. So when I get the itch and I'm like, I really want to stitch on this. Because I want to come in, like I said, I think it's a dish. Like a bowl or a dish. Because it has flowers coming out of it. And a flag. And the bird sitting over here. So my guess is it's a dish. Like this was like an urn. This might be like a planting dish. This here looks like that is going to be crazy stitching. A lot of counting. So all those strawberries. And I have this house in, so I still need to come in and do this. Plus I have to put all the flowers and leaves around most of the border. So I still have all that to go. But I'm loving it. Like I said, every now and then I go, you know what, Linda, I want to stitch on that one. And I pull it out and I stitch on it. I'm going to have all of these new started this year. And I think next year is probably going to be really a focus on whips. Because I'm going to have plenty that I can sit back. People ask me how I decide what I'm going to stitch on next. Pretty much, for the most part, it's stitch what I want when I want. So if I'm sitting here in my craft room and maybe I'm stitching on something and a piece is just in the back of my mind. Maybe I'm you know, was stitching on the Halloween sampler or something like that. And I thought, you know what, I want to really work on Land That I Love by Teresa Kat Nature. Or it could be that I was watching a Flosstube video and somebody else was showing their progress or their finish on a piece or Instagram. And I'm thinking, oh, I have that. Oh, I haven't worked on that in a while. And I really would like to get some more stitching on it. That's how I pick my pieces. I don't usually do any kind of planned things a whole lot. Sometimes, but not usually. I always say, if I make myself a plan, that's the kiss of death. It's not going to happen. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't happen. It's like I say, you know what? I'm going to stitch all Christmas in July. Well, that don't happen. I stitched on, what, 3 or 4 Christmas things maybe at the most. And the rest I didn't. But I did some Patriotic. I did some fall. I did some samplers. I was all over the place. And that's the way I usually am. Sorry, coffee break. Okay, so this next one is another Patriotic piece. And this one is in a big Lake House Stitch Company bag that I had purchased a while back. It has a handle. It's the vinyl fronted. Really nicely constructed bag. Had this one for a while because this one is a big piece. Lots of colors in it. So, and I have them in floss away bags mostly, except for the the overdyed threads that already come in a nice card. All I do to have these kitted and ready is I take them. They come on the card already knotted on there. I take them and cut the ends that are looped. Then I'm ready to start using them. So I usually leave them on their things. But the DMCs, I left them on this, you know, in the skeins and put them in these floss away bags. So it has quite a bit of colors. This one is by Lula Studios and it's called Let Freedom Ring. And I've been working on this one for a couple of years. So I thought, I want to work on this one some more. I can't remember, somebody was showing it and I said, I have that, I need to get some more stitching on it because I love it. I love it. I think it's beautiful. And it's going to be beautiful stitched on my wall one day. But like I said, in the meantime, I'm enjoying stitching on it. So I came in, I'd already had all of this done I'm over here. On this side, I already had the flowers and this. I was coming in and I was working more on getting this tree done here. I still have to do that tree. I haven't done any of the back stitching in here in the building, but I wanted to come over and start working on this building. So I was over here in the main section of Independence Hall in Philadelphia, PA, Pennsylvania. And this is a piece of 28 count Lugana in the color limestone. So that's pretty true to color right there. Even though you think of limestone, I guess I think green, but it's not. Limestone, it's a a very tanny color. So it's perfect for this. It's like a yellow tan. So like I said, I worked on filling in this tree some more. I pretty much have that tree done. There's one part of a tree peeking over here. And then I came over and I was doing all of this. So I was working on the building. I am using all of the called for. I'm even using the Calico Kitty for the bricks, for the brick building. So all of this over here, all of this building color, and all of the building color over here, except for down here is a DMC color, a called for DMC, and so are the pillars here in the breezeway. But this color here is the Calico Kitty by Classic Colorworks. Some people didn't like the variegation in it. I'm just going with it. And it's not bothering me. I'm just doing it organically too. I'm not trying to finagle the colors, because when you really look at the whole thing in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to notice that parts of that color are more tan and parts are more pinkish. Let me fold it again and bring it in. So this is where I was. So I was doing all of that. This starts kind of a really skinny, that's a really skinny, I guess, chimney here. This is the edge of the roof line. So the roof will go right in here. And there's still a whole other row of windows. There's a whole other story to this building. And I believe these down here must be basement windows. They're going to go in there. But this is where I am on this one. And then the flowers up here. They're so pretty. Look at that. I only have part of this like twisted looking border at the top. So I need to come up and work some more on that. I love the horse and carriage in this piece. I think it's Heidi Stitching Faye on Flosstube. She already has this part done down here, the carriage. But see, I started up here, so I'm working down and over. So it's going to be a while for me to get to that part, but when I do, I'm going to be so happy and think it's gorgeous. And then these little soldiers down here. Just love it. A little lady. So I've done all of this up in here. But if I started it a couple of years ago and that's all I have done on this, a huge piece, so it's got lots of stitching in it, it's still going to be a few more years before this one's finished. I don't see me sitting there saying, I'm going to forget all my other whips and I'm only going to work on this piece. I am not good at monogamous stitching. I can get into a piece and I can stitch on it for days, but then eventually I set it aside and I want to work on something else. I don't stick with it forever. Put everything back in the bag. Oh, let me show you the Calico Kitty up really quick. Let me show that to you. It's a Classic Colorworks. Here it is. So I don't know if you could see how there's some brown in there? And the kind of pinkishy color. To me, that looks like older brick to me. So I think it's a good color, and it's all personal preference. The people who did it, that switched it out and used a different color, theirs looks beautiful too, you know. But I know a lot of people didn't like the color and switched it. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going with it because it's not bothering me. At first, when I started, when I did the first little part, I thought, oh, I don't know. But the more I stitched on it, the better the color was looking. And like I said, in the scheme of things, you know, when you're standing back and you're looking at it on your wall, it's going to look really good. Then I went on my retreat with my few girlfriends that we go up to the mountains in July. We go up to Massanutten. It's a ski resort in the winter time. So the house that we stay in, you can see the lifts. And the house sits, I mean, it basically goes down. You're looking out the back windows and you can see deer down in the bottom, down, you know, and they'll climb up the mountain and they're up next to the house, and it's really nice up there. Nice place to go in the summertime. They do have summer activities. They have zip lining, they have a pool. I think they have putt-putt, you know, a bunch of stuff that people go there and take their families there in the summertime. But we go there and we rent this house. It's more meant for scrapbookers because I'm the only one that goes there and cross stitches. Everybody else does paper crafting. We do some knitting. I diamond painted while I was there. But I did work on this piece. I brought like 4 pieces, and I think this is the only one I really stitched on while I was there. But this one is by Barbara Anna Designs, and it is called Love Never Fails. Let's see if you can see it good enough without the... This is one, Heidi, by Stitching Faye. This is one that she finished last year. Probably 6-8 months ago, was showing it framed and done. And I said, oh, I need that one. I'm going to stitch it for my husband and I. So I already had this little lady done. And I wanted to come over and I wanted to start working on the man. So I got his legs in. I was with my friends. Here we go. Here's the whole thing. I was there for 4 days with them. And that's all of the stitching I got was this over here. I already had Love in. So this and his legs and his feet, his boots. But this is 32 count Lugana in the color Vintage Country Mocha. And I came in and I stitched over here on this side. Let me show you the gentleman's legs. So I got his legs in. I think I still have to, yep, I still have to put the stitches in for the buttons down here. And I started this, so I need to still finish all of that because it's going to be filled in just like this other side over here where the lady is. So I got her all done. I got her cat done. I got, oops, one of the flowers over her head. And I did all of this beautiful diamond work down here that she's standing on. And so, and then I already had the love done in the middle. I'm going to put the year my husband and I were married. And I'm going to put our initials down at the bottom. But I already had the love in there. And so that's what I worked on. 4 days. Although, like I said, I diamond painted. I knitted just a tiny bit on my sweater. And not enough to show. I think I did 5 rows. My sweater will be that much longer. That's it. So, nothing to show there. But I did finish a big diamond painting, but I didn't bring it in here. I could show it another time. But isn't this cool looking? Love it. Beautiful. Okay. Enough of that one. And I am using, is it called for DMC? Yeah, because I'm using all of the called for this one. And it's just the DMCs. Easy to kit. And this one just has straight up cross stitches, so this is easy to do on Ada. For all my Ada stitchers, you do any kind of fabric you want. And just grab some DMCs and go. My next piece I did not work on too long. I had seen that Jen, 24 Hours of Cross Stitch, Jen Lee, she had finished this. She was showing it a couple of videos ago on her channel. I think she even had it framed, and it was just so pretty. And I remember seeing this at my LNS in Alexandria, Virginia, the In Stitches. I remember seeing this on their wall, and so I picked it up. It was when they have models in their store, how they work their patterns is if you see one on the wall, this one was on the wall near the door, the front door, and the number on it was 1166. And so you go over to these chart boxes and they have them in numerical order by the numbers here, if they have the chart still. So I picked this up, Dog's Declaration by Ink Circles. And I was working in this tree. My goal was I wanted to get that all finished up there, that tree. There's a lot of color changes in this. So even though it doesn't look like I did very much, I worked on it for a little while. I worked on it for a couple of days, but I felt like I didn't get very far at all. This one is just on a piece of 32 count Lagana in the color white or antique white. Because I just wanted all of the colors to be showcased and didn't feel like it needed a fancy over-dyed fabric. And so this is where I am on this piece. I did come in and I did this. That was it. But like I said, that's 6 different colors right there. And another 2 over here. I mean, it's just a lot of color changes. A lot of counting. Bring it in closer. But you can't even hardly tell from far away. It just looks like it's kind of green and brown. But it's a bunch of different colors. So that's all I got accomplished on this one. This brown here is the only thing I switched. That I'm using the called for the DMC conversion that the designer did, because it does use silks or overdyed, just regular cotton overdyed. I think it uses silks. But the only color that I decided to do in a variegated cotton overdyed was I used Brown Bear by Gentle Arts. Let me see. Because I wanted these big letters here, because this is the only part that had like one color that you didn't have to switch for 6 different colors, was in these big letters. So I thought I do want some variegation going on in the letters. It's hard to see on camera, but it is variegated a little bit. So I picked, yeah, it's by Gentle Arts, and it's Brown Bear, because there is some variegation that goes on. See how you can see that little bit of lighter there? Oh, it's kind of hard because I don't have much left on that skein. I've used quite a bit of that one, but I have more because I still have a couple of more letters to do in it. I have Life, Liberty, and then it says, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Oh no, and the Pursuit of Squirrels. Not happiness. So, if you can see, there is variegation in there. It goes from a really dark charcoal brown to a light brown. So I picked that one to do a little variegation in my letters on this piece. And then the rest is just all of the DMCs that are called for here. You can see. These are the silks, but then they have a DMC-ish conversion. So you're not going to get the exact color of these with your DMCs, but that's the closest they can match them. And so that's what they did. Oh yeah, and in stitches, I did buy the fabric there, and it was 32 count Lugana antique white. And this is a bag I made using some dog pattern material. And I put a little puppy paw charm on it. You can see that. So, it's just one of the bags I made. I'm not a... Sorry about my throat. I am not a very good... I think when I talk a lot, it starts irritating my throat. I don't talk a lot normally. I don't think so. But, love it. Love it. So, that is that one. What do I got? A couple, 3 more. How many more do I have to show you guys? Looks like 4 more. Okay, the next one is a whip. It's by Teresa Kat. It came out, I believe, last year in market. And I got it up, and I last year had done the bird on it because I wanted to stitch the funky bird. Oop, I'm dropping on the floor because I can't bend over it too well. My back is still stupid. I've been trying to do yoga stretches and all kinds of stuff. Got a inversion table. I've been trying to get on that. I've been heating pad every day. Anyways, this one's called Nature by Teresa Kat. So I came in and I did this funky bird last year, but I wanted to get some more work on this one. This one was calling to me, and let me make sure it's not an important phone call that I missed. It was my husband, but he didn't leave a message, so it must not have been that important to call him back as soon as I'm done here. This one I am stitching on a piece of ivory Lugana 32 count. So I had the little bird in, and I had done the border and this star, and I think A and B, because I wanted to, you know, I did an upper left-hand corner start. So I wanted to count off of here to get to the bird. So I was able to get in and get him all in. And I think I got these little berries so far. So I picked him up and I was working on him some more, and I didn't get very far. I just got this border across here, and I started doing this part and then the word nature. So that's what I was doing, but I wanted to come in. That's why it's still on the Q-snap, because I kind of had a little goal with myself to try to get this flower, this branch and flower done. All of this stitched in here, this little branch above him, so that all of this would be finished, this whole corner. But I didn't get that done yet. So I left it on the Q-snap because I thought if I have time, I'd like to work on this one some more. So that is Teresa Kat Nature. And like I said, I think this came out in 2023. I'm pretty sure I bought it as soon as it came out and worked on it last year. Shouldn't be reaching so much. Okay, the next piece that I worked on was a Christmas in July piece. It's a whip that I already had started last winter, this past winter. And this one is this Happy Morning by Plum Samplers. And I think the tree is pretty much done, and this star and a little bit of the border. This one is on a piece of ivory Lugana, 32 count. That's all I can tell you. I didn't bring its project bag because this was on a Q-snap until I took it off to show you guys, because half of the design was hiding. So what I did was I came in and I worked the border down farther. I got the berries in the border and a few of the leaves, but I didn't finish doing the leaves down here yet. But the trunks on the trees, and I started on the barn. And it's hard to see, but I have two of the windows outlined there. So I was starting, I'm up in the top of the barn, top corner. So that's how far I got on the this Happy Morning, Plum Samplers. Love it. Plum Street, she usually has lots of fill-in. Like I said, that barn, I am just up here in the corner. Like, what corner am I on? Right up in here. That's all I had was this little bit here, and I had these two little windows framed in. But I still want to come up here and do the roof. And, you know, I was thinking of trying to outline it, but there's a lot of design. Well, at least outline the roof, because that's all, I think that's all one solid stitch. But look at all this grass down here with the trees in it. That's a lot of stitching too. So the bulk of the stitching is right in here. And I've got, you know, some of this done. And it's just starting to get into the bulk. So, because I thought if I get it started, maybe I can get going on the barn, because that barn's going to take a hot minute to do. So, and I think I measured my piece of material to the size I need. And so that was another Christmas in July that I was trying to do. And then I did a new start, and I did not get very far in this one. I think sometimes I try to sit down and do my stitching, and then something comes up. Somebody needs something. Something's going on. Or I have to get something done. It's like, oh, it's already 2 o'clock. I got to go do such and such, or I got to be somewhere. And then so I get like 20 minutes of stitching in. And then I go and I sit down again and I get 20 minutes of stitching in. And then it's like, that was my day. Some days I only get like, sorry, I keep getting random texts. This is what I started. Summer at Cherry Hill by Brenda Gervais, with thy needle and thread. A lot of people are stitching on this one. I can't remember who all I've seen stitching on it, but a few people are that I've seen. So I did an upper left-hand corner start. I know why I didn't get very far in this one though too. I was having a floss dilemma. I had purchased this at Salty Yarns when I went back in April, I think. So I purchased this piece of fabric from them, which I love. It's not the fabric. This fabric is sand, 32 count linen in the color Sand by Picture This Plus. Love the little bit of modeling in here. Love the color. But what I was struggling with, and I've switched out some of the colors. This green is switched out. I switched the bird's wing to a different one of the called for colors because the two colors for the bird were almost identical. And my problem with this one is, and it may just be because of the flosses that I have, the overdyes I have for it, they're all gold, almost all gold, 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 you know, and so gold, they blend in too much together. This one's a little bit, tiny bit lighter, but it's like the bird was maybe these two colors. And I'm like, they look the same. So and then there's this little lighter color. There's, you know, the one red and the one kind of pink color. So I switched in a darker green for some of the leaves, one that was a little bit more of a green. And, you know, that would coordinate with that green at least for the trees, all the leaves and stuff, because I thought it was more, is it this one? It was avocado, and that's corn silk. Did I even keep avocado? But the avocado was yellow. My avocado was a yellow color. So I was like, yet again, another gold. I think I took it off of there because it was like they were all gold. So I think I'm going to have to do some color switches because everything in here was pretty much looking like it was turning out gold. So I did switch, you know, this to a greener, and this leaf here is greener. I'm fine with the tree trunk color. I'm fine with the red color, the red and the blue, but I think I need to switch out a couple of the gold colors for a little bit different, maybe tan, I don't know, something. Because all of my colors, half of them, there's like 15 called for colors, but 7 of them are gold. So not against the designer, because I don't, probably when she kitted it, because this doesn't look all gold. These look green. The bird looks like it's 2 different colors. So I don't think it's on her. I think it's just the dye lots that I got. When I picked up my flosses, they're just all golds. And they're just like little tiny bit of different gold. So when you're stitching, they look more different here when you're looking at the whole bunch of them. They look a little more different. But when you're actually stitching little X's, they all look pretty much the same. So I was kind of getting discouraged with it. Went and picked a different color. I took some of it out twice. I took the bird wing out and then switched it for a different gold color. And I thought, okay, so now at least the bird's not all one color. You can actually see a little bit that its wing is a different color, but not by much, but still a different color. And then I had stitched all of this in and started on leaves, and I was like, they're all gold. They're all yellow. So I had to switch. Then I frogged those out and started all over on those. So I did a lot of frogging, a lot of looking through my stash, trying to find a different color. I looked through my DMCs. I think I even tried a DMC color. A lot of the DMC greens that I was trying to pull, even though I was trying to go more mossy, yellowy greens, they were still kind of looking kind of bright against the called for overdyes. So those weren't working. So I was like, well, that's not working. So I just put it down. And I said, that'll be a problem for another day because I don't have time for this mess right now. So I still love it. I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm just going to have to think about it. I'm going to have to go into my stash of flosses and pick different colors. So the last one that I started, the last one I worked on in the month of July was by Teresa Kat again. She's one of my favorite designers, and it is Beauty Fades. So I picked up a piece of leftover fabric. So I think this is either taupe or wheat, 32 count Lagana. I'm not sure which, because they're both pretty close in color, just maybe a slight variation in them. So it's either one. And what I wanted to do was come in and frame it all in on my piece of fabric. So I did. So I went in and I put the whole border in. Am I showing you right side? Yep. Whole border. So all of the border is done. And then I came in and I started filling in the section that has the lady. And so I got the grass in here, and I've got about close to half of her skirt, and then the Bible that she's holding. Because this says, on it, it says, youth is fleeting and beauty fades, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. So I'm working over here. I got this bit of grass and this bit of her skirt. And then, like I said, I framed the whole bit in so I can just go in and do all the fun stitching. And those who count stitches. Because I said, out of curiosity, I'm going to figure out how many stitches it takes just to do all of the border framing in here. Even the dividing lines. And it was just a little over 1,500 stitches. So just doing that was 1,500 stitches, because I sat there for 4 nights just stitching in border. And then I spent another couple of nights working on her, the grass and the skirt and stuff. So let me bring it in a little closer where I was working. So that's where I got to on this one. So because I like easy stitching. Oh, except I did the border, except for I ran out. I was playing thread chicken. And I thought, I can do it. I can do it. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. And I just really couldn't get that one last stitch there. One. So when I come in down here, that's where I'm missing the stitch. This is the same color. I think the roof and the part of the door, the top of the door there, are the same color used down here. I think it's 3371 DMC. So I'll just, when I do that, I'll put that one stitch in. I was like, oh man, but I just couldn't. I was squeezing in the last 3 or 4 stitches I put in. And I was like, I can't, my needle, I can't keep the thread on the needle. It's just going to come right out if I try to do one more stitch. So, and I know there's ways that you can take and use like a threader or something and try to pull it through, or get a petite needle. And I do have some, but I don't feel like getting up and getting a petite needle just to put one stitch in. So sometimes I'm lazy like that. So those are all of the whips that I worked on. I do want to let you know really quick that for the month of August, and I've already started one, for the month of August and September, I watch on Flosstube, one of the Flosstubers that I watch out of the several that I do watch, is Nerissa from Nerissa Stitching Lifestyle. And she did last year, and she's doing it again this year. She's doing a, where you stitch samplers, but not just for Sampler September. She says that's not long enough for her. She generally stitches samplers and Christmas things. Those are her 2 loves right now. She has in the past stitched a bunch of Mirabilias and Paula Vaughn's. Whenever you watch her videos, she always shows her walls at the beginning of her video, has little clips of everything she has hanging framed on her walls. But right now, her loves are samplers and Christmas stitching. She does a lot of ornament stitching. So she says that Sampler September is not long enough for her. She wants to make it be 2 months. So I thought, good idea, because I have all these new starts, and a lot of the things that I have kitted up are samplers. So I thought, why not? I'll start with her. And then she mentioned doing 4 in, 1 for every week in August and 1 for every week in September. And she said, But maybe she'd even do a 9th because she was thinking if she started one every Monday, there are 9 Mondays between August and September. So I thought that's what I'm going to do, because when I looked at the ones I have kitted that I would like to start out of my projects that I'm wanting to start this year, I have easily 9 samplers that I want to start. So I am going to, this is stuff I wrote down for, it's hashtag stash sampler starts with Nerissa. 9, I'm going to start 9 new sampler starts every Monday. So I started one this past Monday, just a couple of days ago, that I'm working on. I'll show you the next time. So I'm going to do it from August 1st to September 30th. And she said also, if you just want to work on your whips stash, which I know Carol Saltbox Stitcher did it with her last year, where she started a bunch of new samplers. But this year, I think I was just watching her last video not too long ago, and I believe she mentioned that she's going to do it, but she thinks she's going to do work on her whips, her sampler things that she already has going. So she's going to do the hashtag sampler stitching, because Nerissa said you could do either, both, combination, whatever you want to do. But if you're starting new things, sampler, stash sampler starts, because you're going to start some that are in your stash. And if you're working on whips that you already have going, do the sampler stitching, hashtag sampler stitching. And then if you're interested in following along with her and doing that, just tag me. I'd like to see everybody's sampler starts and things. That would be fun. So I had all of those whips. I'm looking at my notes. Sorry, I'm reading them, because I forgot these last time. I was so mad at myself. I uploaded my video and everything, and I was like, totally. And then I looked, and I had this pile sitting over here on the desk, and I said, can't believe I forgot to show those. I think because my video was already way long enough, because I was showing my 31 new starts I already had this year. So I was showing 31 things, double what I showed you today. So I didn't get around to, it was already over 2 hours, and I was like, I don't even have, and then I just totally forgot about it. So I want to shout out this time on my videos. I got some Happy Mail, and this Happy Mail came in over the last couple of months. But I had one of my viewers on my channel, a friend of my channel, Susan, she contacted me when I had mentioned that I was celebrating my 3-year Flosstube anniversary. It was right after my birthday, whatever. So she said, I would like to make you a project bag. She contacted me and she said, I'd like to make you a project bag. These are the materials I have. Pick one and I'll make you a project bag from it. So I picked a coffee material that she had, and she made me this bag. When I got this in the mail, it made me smile. It is just so cute. And then she put like a little doggy charm on it. Look at that. Because I love dogs. And it's beautifully stitched. I haven't used it yet because I wanted to show it, because it's been sitting here on the side of my desk all this time because I completely forgot. So she also put in here, I have her note that she sent me, but she also made me a like a needle book. It snaps together, has little pockets, has the felt, little pockets to put things down in here. She sent me a pack of needles with it. So I just, thank you. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Now I can use it. Now I can put a project in it. It's been sitting here because I've been wanting to say, I told her thank you before, but I wanted to publicly thank her also. Just gorgeous. And I think this is the first time that somebody's made me a project bag or given me one. Madeline gave me one time when we were stitching. A friend of mine, she was like, here, you want this bag? You can have it. And I think Cindy did that. But my husband is texting me. You want to know what he texted me? He's at work today. He works from home most days of the week, but this week he's so busy, he has meetings and stuff. So he's at the office. I don't know how he did it. I'm going to have to, that's probably what he was calling me for, but he said he ripped his shirt So now he had to go to Kohl's and buy himself a new shirt. Probably because he's going to a meeting and his shirt was ripped and he didn't have another shirt with him, so he had to go buy one. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to ask him, how did you manage to rip your shirt? Anyways, thank you so much for this. This is, like I said, I've had a couple of my friends give me a bag, but I've never had somebody, you know, a viewer of my channel, you know, contact me and say, I want to make you a bag, give you a bag, things like that. So this is so, so sweet. And to come with the needle book and everything. That is just so nice of you. And then well, I can't say never, but I'm not usually one to win things. I don't put in for I watch a lot of Flosstube. I don't comment on most of my Flosstube because when I'm watching it, I'm stitching. Usually I'm stitching in my craft room and I've got the TV on and I've got the YouTube being streamed to my TV across the room. So I don't usually comment on the videos because I have to, instead what I do is I pause it, I go to my phone, and then I have to type something in. And so normally I don't. I do watch a lot of people, love their channels. I just don't do a lot of commenting and I feel bad that I don't. And so I usually don't even put in for like giveaways too much because I really feel like I have plenty. I don't really need a bunch of stuff, but well, I don't need any. I probably got enough to keep me busy for probably the rest of my life, or pretty close, depending on if I keep stitching every day for the rest of my life. You know, I'm sure it'll keep me busy for quite a few years, and I don't know how long I'm going to live and be able to do it, but I'm having fun doing it. But so I don't put in for the giveaways because I got floss fibers in my nose, because I feel like I want other people to win it. You know, I don't need this stuff, you know. But occasionally I'll put in for one because it might be a beautiful project bag or a piece that I've never seen, like a pattern I've never seen, but I love it. And I'm like, man, I don't know where that person got that, but I would like to stitch that. A lot of times because I do have so much, I go, got it, got it, got it, got it. So anyways, I didn't even put in for this giveaway because this was just one I think they randomly picked from people that are subscribed to their channel. But this is from Missy and Kathy from Two Needles Pulling Thread, their Flosstube channel. They did a Library Stitchers retreat up in Maine. I think Maine is where they're from. And I'm subscribed to their channel, and I've met Missy and Kathy. I met them a couple of years ago at StitchCon before, but they contacted me and they said, you won one of our, they had a few of these bags left over from the goodie bags from their retreat. And they just thought instead of them just laying around, they would just randomly give them out to viewers of their channel, subscribers to their channel. So I love the moose and the state of Maine on there. And then there was their free charts, you know, that came, so I can't really show them because maybe, well, a little bit. The pattern is on the other side. But these couple of free charts, what other goodies were in here? Some backing fabric to finish that one small. Isn't that pretty? Those ships. Some backing fabric. What else is? All kinds of little goodies in this bag. Needle minders. They played a floss toss game. A needle minder. I mean, I was just so shocked that I won. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful with the scissor thing? This one, I think they said is a keychain, but it can hold your chapstick. It's got a little moose on it. That it was kind of their theme for their retreat. And a piece of, this is probably maple candy, would be my guess. I haven't eaten it, but it looks like a maple leaf shape, and it looks like maple to me. So that's what I'm guessing that is. A sticker. And the floss lobster. Well, I can't say it with the accent like they do. I'm too Southern. But lobster claw. Lobster? No, I'm saying it too. I can't say it. I can't say it like they say it. And a lobster charm. Look at him. He's gonna have to go on a bag when I finish one. And then evidently there were giveaway tickets, which I did not win. And I think this is to hold needles. I think, pretty sure. So you would just open it here and you could dump a needle out. So I think this is a needle holder, pretty sure. So if I'm wrong, let me know. But look at all the goodies in this bag. So thank you so much, Missy and Kathy, if you're watching this video, for the cute little bag. I've had this, like I said, I've had it for at least a month sitting here. I had it before the other video I did, and I forgot to thank them. So thank you so much for that. And then I want to give away from Christine Hollis, Hollis Hands Creates. She has a shop, but she was doing a giveaway and I put in for it. And I was like, and then she contacted me and said, you won the giveaway. And I was like, I really did? I was shocked. I was like, man, I should have played the lottery last, month or whatever. But it's Betsy's stockings. Aren't those beautiful? Oh, it's kind of a lot of glare on there. But I don't have this one. And I love Plum Street samplers. And so I thought, man, I need to stitch these up. Like I said, right now I'm all Patriotic stitched out, but eventually these are going to get stitched. So those were the giveaways that I won, and I was so shocked that I won those. And then I have a purchase, a special purchase that I made off of Etsy. And I wanted to show you guys because these were very reasonably priced. I have been wanting a retreat mat, something I could set on the table, because like when I went to Massanutten, and I was thinking this table doesn't look like it's been cleaned. We have like large folding tables. The place we stay at has a room that's a crafting room, so that I think there's like maybe, what is there, 9 tables in the whole room, 9 or 10 tables. They're folding tables. They give you an aught light. They give you a power tower, a place to plug all your stuff in, a trash can, nice comfy chair. But the table was like kind of cruddy, so I had to go and clean my table because I don't want to set my flosses and my fabric and all my stuff down on a dirty table. Plus I thought it's just, then I know that, when I lay my stuff down, it's all in one contained little area on the table for the most part. So I wanted a retreat mat. So I bought this one from Stitch in Peace. And here's her card that came with it. You want to take that information. Like I said, these stitching mats, when you look at it, it was very, very reasonably priced. So I was excited to get this one. And she mailed it immediately. I mean, she contacted me the next day, said it's in the mail. I got it very quick. So it comes to you like this. Well, she had it wrapped in beautiful sunflower tissue paper with a ribbon, and this, attached to the ribbon. But I unpackaged it already. But this is the stitching mat. It came folded like this, and this is the inside. So it comes with these pockets. So I could put my eyeglasses, my scissors, whatever I want down in these 2 pockets down here in the corner. But also this Ort container was in the pocket. And there is a snap on the bottom of the Ort bowl and up here in the corner of here. And you can snap your Ort container onto there. And then it had this, and it came with these 2 a little thread, needle threader, and a little pen. But this is a little square felt where you could stick your needles. And like I said, then an Ort container, and you just lay this, and I could put my eyeglasses and things in these little pockets. I can lay my flosses on here, and I'm ready to go. Just lay this in my spot. So I really am pleased with this purchase. Really nicely made. And then when you're done and you want to pack it up and go, you just take and unsnap your little Ort thing and stick it back down in the pocket, fold this, stick it down in a bag, and I'm ready to take this back home. So I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's pretty. So she had a few different designs, but this one was one that she had ready at the time. And so I thought, oh, I like that. That's pretty. And I'll buy that. So I think she had a couple of them. And then I wanted to do, since I have a little bit of extra time in this video, I'm not showing as many projects. I wanted to go over like an organization tip. I know a while back I did a tour of my craft room and how I organized some of my stuff. It's changed a little bit because when we went and put the flooring in, I moved the room around a little bit. And now my mom is living here, and she's been coming over, and she comes over and we diamond paint together at least once a week. And so I've set up a folding table. I had to move some stuff. And so next to my desk is another desk over here. Well, not a desk, but a table. I have a folding table for her and a chair for her to do her diamond painting that she does, so that she has a space in here. So I had to move the cabinets that were on this side of the room over to the other side of the room. And so my room's a little different, a little more reorganized than when I showed my craft room tour, which was probably over a year ago. Because also, my husband wanted a bigger couch for the TV viewing room, because the one we had in there was really small. So that small couch is in here. So I have a couch in here. I now have an extra table set up in here. I have a little, I have a girlfriend that will come over and knit with me sometimes. So I wanted to have a place for her to sit and knit, and I'll sit in my stitching chair and knit, but I wanted another little chair, little upholstered chair for her to be able to sit in next to me. So I have an extra chair in here, I have an extra table. So I've moved the room around a bit. Most of my organization stuff is still pretty much the same. My fabrics are still organized in the boxes. I have them in wrapped around the comic book boards. My overdyed flosses are still hanging on a curtain rod in my closet. So that's all still the same. I have my wall of whips, what I call it. It's cubbies, and I have all of my project bags in the cubbies on the one wall straight ahead of me. But one of the newest things I found is a way to organize my kitted projects. So things that are on my radar that are kitted that I'd like to start. And because I'm doing my 62 new starts this year, I had quite a bit of them kitted that I pulled out, and I said, I want it organized some way better than I had it in bins. And I would have to dig through the bin and say, what do I want to, out of my kitted things, what do I want to start next? Now, I saw this on Instagram, and I cannot remember who it was. I am so terrible with names, but somebody on Instagram showed this. So this is not my idea. I copied it. But I went on Amazon and I purchased these hanging, they can be used for teachers' classrooms to hang books and things. But these hanging bags, they zip closed and they have a hanger on them, because I have a closet that has a hanging rack just like a regular bedroom closet. So I can hang these now on that rack, and I can just go through them. I can just look through what's hanging there and go, oh yeah, take that one. Like looking through your clothes to pick out what shirt you want to wear that day. As easy as that. So you can just put your whole project right down in here. This one's kitted. This is Cathcart Coquin by Shakespeare's Peddler. This one's kitted. It's one of the samplers I may start for Sampler September. Got its piece of fabric, all its flosses ready. So everything for this, I've even copied the color key, so I'm ready to go. You know, so because I don't want to, sometimes, well, another little tidbit, when I'm stitching a lot of times, if I'm stitching along on a pattern and maybe I'm doing something like I'm filling in this vase right here. Well, that's a lot of rows to keep track of. So what I usually use, I use the pattern, the paper pattern, but what I'll do is I use a magnet board. You can purchase them from a lot of places. A lot of hobby stores have them. Like I know Hobby Lobby has them. I think even Michael's has them. I'm not sure if Joann's does. They might. Depends on your area. 123 Stitch sells them with their accessories. But it's a magnet board, and it's a magnetized metal board about the size of a pattern this size, 8.5 by 11. And it comes with magnets, and one of them is like a ruler magnet. but they're just straight magnets so that you can slide along just like you would slide along this. And I'd go, okay, I'm on that row. Okay, next that row, next that row, next that row. And that's how I stitch when I'm stitching things, especially when it's a large fill-in area. Like maybe I'm trying to do this lady's whole apron here. So I start at the row 1, and then I sit there and I stitch vertical. A lot of people stitch horizontal. I'm usually stitch vertical unless there's a reason for me to stitch horizontal on it. But if I'm just filling in a big area and I just want to regular stitch it, I usually do vertical stitching. But if you were horizontal, you would just flip it this way. And, you know, whether you were doing from top to bottom or bottom to top, top to bottom, bottom to top, left to right, right to left, you just slide it along your row that you're stitching on. And it helps keep track. So when you look back at your pattern, you go, oh, I'm on the 3rd row here. And then I stitch that row. And then when I'm ready to start the next, I just slide my magnet over 1 row. Oh, okay, I need 1 extra stitch on this one or whatever on this row. And then I go on like that. So I like to copy the pattern key, just because it's on the back of the book. So if I had this book stuck in my magnet board, I don't want to show the pattern, but say it was stuck on this page, I'd have to keep taking it off, take my magnet off that's keeping my place, flip to the back of the book, look at what the next color is, then come back to the thing. So if I make a copy of the color key, because even if I don't change the color, you know, I'm doing all the called for. But if I did, this is where I would mark it out and say I switched that color for this color. But then I set that right next to my magnet board. It's right behind my magnet board. So when I'm switching to the next color, pull it out, I look at it and I go, okay, Whiskey by Weeks Dye Works. Grab it, put it on my needle, slide my magnet along, just keep on stitching. So that's how I stitch like that. Another thing that somebody asked me that I wanted to, well, I get asked this fairly often, and I try to address it when I can. And it's how do you get your stitches to look so neat, especially your white stitches? Because I think I was showing something that had a lot of white stitches, and I think it was on my 31 new starts video, the last video I did. And I did do a basics of cross stitch video a couple of years ago. Is it perfect? No. Why is this one perfect? No. I mean, get what you get with me. I don't edit. I don't have cameras to switch, you know, from up to down and all that kind of stuff. I don't have any fancy equipment. It's just me talking on my iPad to you guys. But I did a basics of cross stitch video a couple of years ago. So if you look way back in my video list, you can see it, you can find it. And if you're a very beginning new cross stitcher and you want to know how to thread a needle, doing the loop start method, if you want to learn how to do a pin stitch. I know you can do a pin stitch on the front of your work too. Done that before, but that's not in that video. But I show how I stitch to lay my stitches flat and a little neater. It works for me. I feel like my cross stitch looks fine. I don't have a problem with it when I stitch this way. The only tips I can say is to what I do is I generally, like all of these things that I showed you, unless I'm stitching on 40 count, which I have 2 things right now I'm stitching on 40 count. But if I'm stitching on 32 count, 16 count, 28 count, all of those are stitched with 2 threads. I only have 3 projects that I'm only stitching with 1 thread. So when I do the loop start method, now I've got my 2 threads and I do the loop start and I'm stitching along. The only thing I can tell you is I'm always watching my thread. It's always kind of, you know, it doesn't take but a split second to just twist your needle a little bit if it looks like your thread is starting to twist. If it's starting to twist your needle in the opposite direction to kind of untwist it and just start stitching. Twist it, you know, and when I'm stitching, and if I'm here in the craft room, I have a floor stand. I have a Lowry floor stand. I stitch 2-handed. I have my right hand, I'm left-handed. I have my left hand at the top, putting the needle down, my right hand at the bottom, pushing the needle back up. So I'm going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That helps me to stitch faster. But as I'm doing it, I'm always kind of twisting the needle in the direction that I'm going. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's how I do it. So that, and if it still looks like it's kind of twisting, I just twist the needle a little bit. Just take it between my finger and my thumb, and I just twist the needle and untwist it. Because if I start noticing that my thread is trying to kind of knot up on itself, that's an indicator that it's twisted. Untwist it a little bit. Start stitching again. Twist it, stitch, twist it, stitch. That's what I do. Also, somebody was saying that sometimes for their top leg, you know, I go along and I do the bottom leg and then you do the top leg. They were saying that their top leg sometimes would be loose and wiggly. And the only thing I can say to that is that if your stitches aren't twisted, and if you're doing 2 threads and both of your threads are nice and even, if one is looser than the other on your needle, you need to pull both of your threads tight, like both even on your needle. I don't know if I have anything. Nothing's on a needle. I can't really show. Those are all of the, I don't know. Nothing's neat, you know, because I took all the needles off everything to show it. Anyways, if you have 2 and then you've got one thread looking kind of loose and one is staying straight, pull that loose needle, that loose side of your thread up. Pull the tail of it that's up in your needle. If this is your needle right here and you've got your tails hanging, you know, they're hanging off the other side of your needle, pull it a little tighter so that it's even with the other one. Because I get that occasionally where I'm like, how did that get loose? And I kind of will pull it tighter. And then so if both of your threads are laying like this out of your needle, your stitches are going to lay neater. If they're twisted like this, they're not going to lay as nice. Or if one is kind of, you know, looser than the other, it's not going to lay as nice. You want both of your threads, or even your one thread. If you're stitching with one thread, always just keep it even in your stitching. Because that right there is going to make more even stitching than if your threads are twisted together. It's going to make it look bumpy like that. So that's not what you're going to want. That's the best I can explain it, without actually having the needle and thread and actually having some kind of camera set up where I can show you how I stitch. But that's all I do is if you keep it where your threads are laying flat against each other, always, as much as you can, your stitches are going to look neater. And then you pull it just enough to pull it taut, but you don't want to pull it tight, especially if you're working with like a looser weave linen or something. It's going to gap your holes. It's going to take your weave and start squishing them together, but you want them to stay still where they are on the fabric with your threads laying flat in your fabric. And then that's going to help your stitching. So I hope that helped. I hope that was clearer than mud. But anyways, so that's all I had to go over with you guys. I'm actually getting out of here in an hour and a half. Not too bad. But I think the organization, how you can store your kitted projects, how to maybe help with keeping stitches neater, and all of my stitchy goodness I had to show you so far. That's all I have. I hope you guys are having an enjoyable summer. I hope things are going great wherever you are. And until we meet again, happy stitching, everybody. Bye-bye.